beneath the restless steel-gray waves of the North Atlantic, a world of silence and secrets waits, untouched by sunlight and memory. The ocean's surface, forever shifting, hides stories that have slipped from the grasp of time itself. Somewhere out there in the cold, crushing dark, the Titanic lies in her eternal slumber, but she is not alone. The Atlantic is a graveyard, a library of lost souls and forgotten dreams where the shadows of ships drift endlessly, their stories half whispered, half swallowed by the deep. What else sleeps in these haunted depths? What secrets have been left behind, waiting for the right current, the right question to bring them back into the light? Tonight we descend into the abyss not just to visit the Titanic, but to explore the haunted company she keeps. Are you ready to follow the current into the dark, to see what no sunlight has ever touched? Stay close, because what we're about to uncover may change how you see the ocean, and history, forever. The Atlantic is not just an ocean. It is a memory vault, a sunken archive of ambition, tragedy, and mystery. For centuries, ships have crossed these waters, chasing fortune, fleeing war, seeking new worlds, or simply carrying the hopes of those who believed the horizon was just the beginning. Some made it, many did not. Their stories, their final moments, are written in salt and silence, scattered across the seabed like pages torn from a book. The Titanic is the most famous of these lost chapters, but she is only one among thousands. Each wreck is a question mark, a ghostly echo, a challenge to the living. Will you remember us? Will you listen? Imagine the cold. Imagine the darkness. Imagine the pressure, hundreds of times greater than at the surface, crushing steel, splintering wood, squeezing the last breath from every air pocket. Down here, time moves differently. Down here, the past is never truly gone. The Titanic's shadow stretches far beyond her broken hull. It touches every shipwreck that came before her and everyone that followed. Some say the Atlantic is haunted not by ghosts but by the weight of all these stories, unfinished and unresolved. Is it possible to feel the presence of the past? To sense the sorrow, the fear, the hope that once filled these decks? Or is it all just imagination, stirred by the cold and the dark? Let's begin our descent. The water grows colder, the light fades, and the world above becomes a memory. The first wrecks we encounter are not famous. They are merchant ships, fishing boats, forgotten liners, each with its own tragedy, its own unanswered questions. Some were lost in storms, some to war, some to simple bad luck. Their names are barely remembered, their stories almost erased. But here in the deep, nothing is ever truly lost. The ocean remembers everything. The Titanic herself appears suddenly out of the gloom, her bow still proud, her stern twisted and broken. She is both monument and warning, a reminder of human ambition and human frailty. But even as we marvel at her, we must ask, what else lies in her shadow? What other ships have been claimed by these waters, their stories overshadowed by the Titanic's fame? The Atlantic is littered with wrecks, some older, some newer, some never even identified. Each one is a doorway to another time, another world. It's easy to focus on the Titanic, to let her tragedy eclipse all others. But the ocean is democratic in its embrace. It holds the mighty and the humble alike. The Empress of Ireland lost in a fog-bound collision. The Lusitania, torpedoed and sunk in minutes. The Andrea Doria, claimed by a midnight disaster. And then there are the ships whose names are lost, whose stories are known only to the sea. What draws us to these wrecks? Is it the mystery, the romance, the fear? Or is it something deeper? A need to connect with the past, to understand the choices and chances that brought these ships to their end. As we glide past the Titanic's rusted railings, we sense the presence of those who never left. Some say the wreck is haunted, that strange lights and sounds have been seen and heard by divers. Is it just the mind playing tricks, or is there something more? The ocean is full of mysteries, and not all of them can be explained. The Titanic's shadow is long, and it falls across every shipwreck in the Atlantic. But it also invites us to look closer, to ask harder questions, to seek out the stories that have been forgotten. What other secrets lie hidden in the Atlantic's depths? What stories are waiting to be discovered, just beyond the reach of light and memory? The journey has only just begun. Ahead, the darkness thickens, the pressure increases, and the wrecks grow older, stranger, more mysterious. Some are marked on maps, others are known only by rumor and legend. Each one is a puzzle, a challenge, a chance to learn something new about the ocean and about ourselves. Will you keep going? Will you follow the current even when it leads into the unknown? The Atlantic is waiting, and its secrets are not given up easily. In the next section, we'll dive deeper into the stories of the Atlantic's most haunted wrecks. Ships whose names are spoken in whispers, whose legends have grown in the darkness. Some say these wrecks are cursed, that those who disturb them are never the same. Is it true, or is it just another story waiting to be told? Stay with us as we continue our descent into the Titanic's shadow. The ocean's grip is relentless, its memory long. As we drift further from the surface, the world above becomes a distant echo, replaced by the hush of the deep. Here in the cold embrace of the Atlantic, the line between history and legend blurs. Every shadow could be a ship, every current a whisper from the past. The Titanic's story is only the beginning. Around her, scattered across the seabed, are wrecks that have inspired fear, awe, and endless speculation. Some are famous, their names etched in history books. Others are known only to the sea, their secrets guarded by darkness and time. What draws us to these haunted places? Is it the hope of discovery, or the thrill of confronting the unknown? Perhaps it's both, or perhaps it's something we can't quite name. Let's turn our attention to the RMS Lusitania, a name that still sends a shiver down the spine. She was a marvel of her age, a floating palace, swift and elegant. But on May 7, 1915, her journey ended in disaster. A German torpedo struck her hull, and within 18 minutes she was gone, swallowed by the Atlantic, taking nearly 1,200 souls with her. The world was shocked. The Lusitania's sinking changed the course of history, drawing nations closer to war. But beneath the headlines and the outrage, the wreck itself became a place of mystery. Divers who have visited her report an eerie stillness, a sense of being watched. Some say they've heard voices or seen shadows moving in the silt. Is it just the mind playing tricks in the dark? Or is the Lusitania truly haunted by those who perished so suddenly, so violently? The Lusitania's story is not unique. The Atlantic is littered with ships that met their end in violence and confusion. The Empress of Ireland, lost in a fog-shrouded collision with the Storstad in 1914, sank in just 14 minutes. Over 1,000 lives were lost, many trapped below decks as the ship rolled and filled with water. Survivors spoke of chaos, of screams and prayers, of the cold that bit to the bone. Today, the Empress lies on her side in the St. Lawrence River, her hull slowly dissolving into the silt. Divers who visit her describe a heavy, oppressive feeling, as if the ship itself remembers the panic and sorrow of that night. Some refuse to return, convinced that something lingers in the wreck, something that does not want to be disturbed. Why do these places feel haunted? Is it the weight of so many lost lives, the suddenness of their end? Or is it something deeper, something woven into the fabric of the ocean itself? The Atlantic has always been a place of mystery, a realm where the rules of the surface world do not apply. Down here, time is fluid and the past is never far away. Every wreck is a doorway, a portal to another era. To visit these ships is to step into a story that is still being written, even as the ink fades and the pages crumble. Some wrecks are famous for their ghosts. The SS Valencia, lost off the coast of Vancouver Island in 1906, is said to be one of the most haunted ships in the world. Survivors told tales of phantom lifeboats, of women and children seen clinging to the rocks long after the ship had vanished. Locals claimed to hear cries on stormy nights, to see ghostly figures drifting through the fog. The Valencia's wreck is rarely visited, its location treacherous and its reputation fearsome, but the stories persist, passed down through generations, growing with each retelling. Is it possible for a place to hold on to sorrow, to echo with the pain of those who died there? Or are these just stories born of fear and imagination? What about the ships that have never been found, the wrecks that exist only in rumor and legend? What secrets do they hold waiting in the dark? The Atlantic is full of such mysteries. Some ships vanished without a trace, leaving only questions behind. The SS Waratah, the Australian Titanic, disappeared in 1909 with over 200 people aboard. No wreck has ever been found, no explanation ever given. Some say she was cursed, doomed from the start. Others believe she was swallowed by a rogue wave, or pulled under by a freak current. The truth remains elusive, hidden beneath miles of water and decades of speculation. The Waratah story is a reminder that the ocean does not give up its secrets easily. For every wreck we find, there are dozens more waiting, their stories half told, their endings unwritten. As we move deeper into the Atlantic's graveyard, the sense of unease grows. The water is colder here, the darkness thicker. The wrecks are older, their names fading from memory. Some are little more than piles of rust and bone, their stories almost erased. But even in ruin, they command respect. Each one is a testament to the power of the sea, and to the fragility of those who dare to cross it. The Titanic's shadow falls across them all, a reminder that even the greatest can be brought low by the ocean's might. In the next section, We'll explore the stories of ships lost in war, vessels that carried soldiers, refugees, and hope, only to be claimed by the Atlantic's cold embrace. Some say their ghosts still linger, searching for peace that the sea will never grant. Are you ready to follow us further into the dark, to listen for the voices that still echo beneath the waves? The journey continues. The Atlantic's depths are a battlefield, a silent witness to the violence of war and the desperation of escape. As we drift further from the familiar, the water grows colder, the silence heavier, and the sense of history more profound. Here beneath the waves lie the remains of ships that never reached their destination, vessels torn apart by torpedoes, mines, and the relentless machinery of conflict. Each wreck is a frozen moment, a story interrupted, a question left unanswered. What did the final moments feel like? Did hope linger until the end, or did fear swallow everything? The ocean remembers even when the world above forgets. World War I and World War II turned the Atlantic into a graveyard of steel and dreams. Convoys of merchant ships packed with supplies and hope crossed these waters under constant threat. German U-boats prowled the depths, silent and deadly, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. The wrecks of these convoys litter the seabed, each one a testament to courage and sacrifice. The SS Athenia, the first British ship sunk in World War II, went down on September 3, 1939, just hours after war was declared. More than 100 lives were lost, and the world was reminded again of the ocean's indifference to human conflict. The stories of these wartime wrecks are filled with heroism and heartbreak. The SS City of Benares, a passenger liner carrying evacuee children from Britain to Canada, was torpedoed in 1940. The attack came at night in a storm, and the ship sank quickly. Lifeboats were launched into the freezing dark, and survivors clung to hope as the hours dragged on. Some were rescued days later, others were never found. The wreck of the city of Benares lies deep in the Atlantic, a silent memorial to innocence lost in the cruelty of war. Divers who visit the site speak of an overwhelming sadness, a sense that the ship itself mourns for those it could not save. Not all wartime wrecks are so well known. The Atlantic is filled with ships whose stories have faded, their names remembered only by a few. The SS Leopoldville, a Belgian troopship, was sunk by a German U-boat on Christmas Eve 1944, just 5 miles from the safety of Cherbourg. Over 800 American soldiers died, many trapped below decks as the ship went down. The tragedy was kept secret for years, lost in the noise of a world at war. Today the Leopoldville rests on the seabed, her story slowly coming to light. Some say the wreck is haunted, that the cries of the lost can still be heard on quiet nights. Is it possible for sorrow to linger, for pain to echo through the years? Or is it just the imagination, stirred by the darkness and the cold? The ocean does not discriminate. It claims the innocent and the guilty, the victors and the vanquished. The wreck of the German battleship Bismarck, sunk in 1941 after a fierce battle, lies 2 miles down, her guns silent, her decks empty. More than 2,000 men went down with her, their final moments lost to the deep. The Bismarck's wreck is a place of awe and dread, a reminder of the cost of war and the power of the sea. Divers who have visited her speak of a strange calm, a sense of peace that belies the violence of her end. Is it possible for a place to be both haunted and hallowed, both a tomb and a monument? What of the ships that carried refugees, those fleeing war and persecution, only to be lost at sea? What stories do their wrecks hold, waiting in the dark for someone to listen? The Atlantic is full of such stories. The SS St. Louis, carrying Jewish refugees from Nazi Germany, was turned away from port after port, forced to return to Europe. Some of her passengers survived, others did not. The ship herself was eventually scrapped, but her story lingers, a reminder of the ocean's role as both barrier and escape route. Other refugee ships were not so lucky. The SS Cap Arcona, packed with concentration camp survivors, was sunk by Allied bombers in the final days of the war. Thousands died, their bodies washing ashore for weeks. The wreck of the Cap Arcona lies in the Baltic, but her story is part of the Atlantic's haunted legacy, a tale of hope, betrayal, and unimaginable loss. As we move deeper into the Atlantic's graveyard, the sense of unease grows. The water is colder here, the darkness thicker. The wrecks are older, their names fading from memory. Some are little more than piles of rust and bone, their stories almost erased. But even in ruin, they command respect. Each one is a testament to the power of the sea, and to the fragility of those who dare to cross it. The Titanic's shadow falls across them all, a reminder that even the greatest can be brought low by the ocean's might. In the next section, we'll explore the stories of ships lost in war, vessels that carried soldiers, refugees, and hope, only to be claimed by the Atlantic's cold embrace. Some say their ghosts still linger, searching for peace that the sea will never grant. Are you ready to follow us further into the dark, to listen for the voices that still echo beneath the waves? The journey continues. The deeper we drift, the more the Atlantic reveals its dual nature, both a cradle of dreams and a crypt of despair. The water presses in, thick and cold, as if urging us to turn back, to leave the past undisturbed. But curiosity is a powerful current, and the stories of the lost refuse to stay buried. In these haunted depths, the line between fact and legend blurs, and every shadow could be a memory, every echo a plea for remembrance. The Titanic's shadow is long, but it is not the only one. Around her, the Atlantic's most haunted and forgotten wrecks wait, their stories tangled in the darkness, their secrets heavy as the water above. Let us turn now to the Andrea Doria, a name that conjures both elegance and tragedy. She was Italy's pride, a floating palace of art and luxury, crossing the Atlantic with grace and speed. But on a foggy night in July 1956, disaster struck. The Stockholm, a smaller Swedish liner, collided with the Andrea Doria off the coast of Nantucket. The impact was catastrophic. Steel twisted, decks buckled, and water rushed in. In the chaos, passengers scrambled for lifeboats, their cries lost in the fog. 46 lives were lost, and by morning the Andrea Doria was gone, claimed by the Atlantic's cold embrace. The Andrea Doria's wreck lies on her side, shrouded in silt and legend. Divers call her the Mount Everest of wreck diving, a place of both wonder and danger. The currents are treacherous, the visibility poor, and the wreck itself unstable. Many who have ventured down to her report strange sensations, a sudden chill, a sense of being watched, the feeling that the ship is not entirely empty. Some have seen shadows moving in the corridors, heard the echo of footsteps on decks that should be silent. Is it just the mind playing tricks in the dark? Or does the Andrea Doria truly remember her final night? The Andrea Doria is not alone in her fate. The Atlantic is littered with liners that met sudden violent ends. The Britannic, sister ship to the Titanic, was sunk by a mine in the Aegean Sea during World War I, though not in the Atlantic proper. Her story is forever linked to these waters, a tale of ambition, disaster, and the relentless power of the sea. The Britannic's wreck is vast and haunting, her hospital wards still echoing with the memory of those she tried to save. Divers speak of a profound sadness, a sense that the ship herself mourns her lost purpose. But not all haunted wrecks are grand liners. Some are humble ships, their stories nearly forgotten. The SS Marine Electric, a coal carrier, sank off the coast of Virginia in 1983. She was old, her hull weakened by years of hard service. In a winter storm, she broke apart and went down, taking 31 men with her. Survivors spoke of the freezing water, the darkness, the desperate struggle to stay afloat. The Marine Electric's wreck is rarely visited, but those who have braved the dive report a heavy, oppressive feeling, a sense that the ship resents her fate, that she is not at rest. What of the ships that vanished without a trace, leaving only questions behind? What secrets do their empty graves hold, waiting for someone to listen? The Atlantic is full of such mysteries. The SS Cotopaxi, a tramp steamer, disappeared in 1925 while en route from Charleston to Havana. She sent a distress call, then vanished, her fate unknown for decades. Some linked her to the Bermuda Triangle, weaving tales of supernatural forces and vanishing ships. In 2020, her wreck was finally identified off the coast of St. Augustine, Florida, ending nearly a century of speculation. But the questions remain. What happened in those final moments? Did the crew sense their doom, or did hope linger until the end? The ocean keeps her secrets well. As we move deeper into the Atlantic's graveyard, the sense of unease grows. The water is colder here, the darkness thicker. The wrecks are older, their names fading from memory. Some are little more than piles of rust and bone, their stories almost erased. But even in ruin, they command respect. Each one is a testament to the power of the sea, and to the fragility of those who dare to cross it. The Titanic's shadow falls across them all, a reminder that even the greatest can be brought low by the ocean's might. In the next section, we'll explore the stories of ships lost in war, vessels that carried soldiers, refugees, and hope, only to be claimed by the Atlantic's cold embrace. Some say their ghosts still linger, searching for peace that the sea will never grant. Are you ready to follow us further into the dark, to listen for the voices that still echo beneath the waves? The journey continues. The Atlantic's haunted corridors stretch on, each wreck a silent witness to the ocean's power and the fragility of human ambition. As we glide through this underwater graveyard, the water seems to thicken, the darkness pressing in from all sides. Every flicker of light reveals another story, another tragedy, another unanswered question. The Titanic's shadow is everywhere, but so too are the shadows of ships whose names have faded from memory, whose stories are known only to the sea. What draws us to these places? Is it the hope of understanding, or the thrill of confronting the unknown? Or is it something deeper, a need to connect with the past, to honor those who came before us, to listen to the voices that still echo beneath the waves? Let us pause at the wreck of the HMS Curacoa, a British light cruiser lost in a collision with the RMS Queen Mary in 1942. The Queen Mary, pressed into service as a troop ship, was traveling at high speed, zigzagging to avoid U-boats. The Curacoa, tasked with escorting her, was cut in two by the massive liner's bow. In less than 6 minutes she was gone, taking more than 300 men with her. The Queen Mary could not stop. Her orders were clear and the threat of submarines was ever present. Survivors watched in horror as their shipmates vanished beneath the waves, the Queen Mary disappearing into the distance. The wreck of the Curacoa lies in two pieces, her story a stark reminder of the chaos and confusion of war. The Curacoa's tragedy is not unique. The Atlantic is filled with ships lost to friendly fire, to accidents, to the simple miscalculations that can turn a routine voyage into disaster. The SS Caribou, a Newfoundland ferry, was torpedoed by a German submarine in 1942, while carrying civilians and military personnel. The attack came at night and the ship sank in just 5 minutes. Survivors clung to life rafts in the freezing water, listening to the cries of those who could not escape. The Caribou's wreck is a place of sorrow, a reminder that the ocean does not care for innocence or guilt, for heroism or cowardice. It claims all who cross its path with equal indifference. Some wrecks are haunted not just by the memory of those who died, but by the questions they leave behind. The SS Orang Medan, a Dutch freighter, is one of the Atlantic's most enduring mysteries. In 1947, a series of distress calls were received. All officers, including the captain, are dead, lying in chart room and bridge, possibly whole crew dead. When rescuers arrived, they found the ship adrift, her crew dead, their faces twisted in terror. No cause of death was ever determined, and the Orang Medan soon sank, taking her secrets with her. Was it poison gas, a supernatural force, or something else entirely? The wreck has never been found, but her story lingers. A ghost ship in every sense of the word. The Atlantic is full of such tales. Ships that vanished, crews that disappeared, mysteries that defy explanation. The Mary Celeste, found adrift in 1872 with no one aboard, has inspired endless speculation. Was it mutiny, piracy, or something stranger? The ship was found in good condition, her cargo intact, her lifeboat missing. The fate of her crew remains one of the ocean's greatest mysteries, a story that has grown with each retelling. The Mary Celeste's shadow falls across every ghost ship, every unexplained disappearance, every open question the Atlantic refuses to answer. What of the ships that lie beyond the reach of divers, buried beneath miles of silt and sand? What stories do they hold, waiting for technology to catch up, for curiosity to dig deep enough to find them? The ocean is patient. It waits, holding its secrets close, revealing them only when it chooses. For every wreck we have found, there are countless more waiting in the dark, their stories half told, their endings unwritten. The Titanic's shadow is long, but it is not the only one. The Atlantic is a tapestry of loss and longing, of hope and heartbreak, of questions that may never be answered. As we continue our journey, the water grows colder, the darkness deeper, the wrecks become older, their names harder to read, their stories harder to piece together. But even in ruin they command respect. Each one is a testament to the power of the sea, and to the fragility of those who dare to cross it. The Titanic's shadow falls across them all, a reminder that even the greatest can be brought low by the ocean's might. In the next section, we'll explore the stories of ships lost to nature's fury, vessels claimed by storms, icebergs, and the unpredictable moods of the Atlantic. Some say their ghosts still linger, searching for peace that the sea will never grant. Are you ready to follow us further into the dark, to listen for the voices that still echo beneath the waves? The journey continues. The Atlantic is a living force, unpredictable and untamable. Its moods shift with the wind, its power revealed in every storm that sweeps across its surface. For centuries, sailors have feared the wrath of the ocean, knowing that even the mightiest ship can be brought low by a single wave, a sudden squall, or the silent approach of an iceberg. Nature's fury has claimed countless vessels, their wrecks scattered across the seabed, their stories written in water and wind. In these haunted places, the line between accident and fate blurs, and every wreck is a reminder of the ocean's indifference to human plans. What is it about the Atlantic that draws us back again and again despite the risks? Is it courage, or is it something closer to obsession? Let us begin with the story of the SS Atlantic, a White Star Line steamer lost in 1873. She was bound for New York, her holds filled with hopeful immigrants, her decks crowded with dreams. But a navigational error brought her too close to the rocks off Nova Scotia, and in the early hours of the morning, disaster struck. The Atlantic broke apart in the surf, her passengers thrown into the freezing water. More than 500 lives were lost, many within sight of land. The wreck became a symbol of both hope and heartbreak, a reminder that the ocean gives and takes with equal measure. Divers who visit the site speak of a strange calm, a sense that the ship's story is not yet finished. The SS Atlantic is only one of many ships lost to the Atlantic storms. The SS Morro Castle, a luxury liner, caught fire off the coast of New Jersey in 1934. The blaze spread quickly, turning the ship into a floating inferno. Passengers leapt into the sea, their cries lost in the roar of the flames. The Morro Castle ran aground, her charred hull a grim monument to the power of fire and water. The wreck became a tourist attraction, but those who visited spoke of an uneasy feeling, a sense that the ship was still haunted by the panic and terror of her final night. Some claimed to see figures moving in the smoke, to hear voices calling for help. Is it possible for a place to hold on to fear, to echo with the memories of those who died there? Nature's fury is not limited to storms and fire. The Atlantic is home to icebergs, silent and deadly, drifting south from the Arctic. The Titanic's fate is the most famous, but she was not the only ship to fall victim to the ice. The SS Hans Hedtoft, a Danish liner, struck an iceberg off Greenland in 1959 and sank with all hands. Her wreck has never been found, her story overshadowed by the Titanic's legend. Yet for those who remember, the Hans Hedtoft is a chilling reminder that the ocean's dangers are ever present, that even in the age of radar and radio, nature can still surprise us. Some wrecks are the result of 1,000 small mistakes, each one insignificant on its own, but together fatal. The SS Marine Sulphur Queen, a tanker carrying molten sulfur, vanished off the coast of Florida in 1963. No trace was ever found, no explanation ever given. Theories abound, rogue waves, structural failure, even sabotage, but the truth remains elusive. The Marine Sulphur Queen's disappearance is a reminder that the ocean keeps her secrets well, that not every question has an answer. What of the ships that went down in perfect weather? With no warning, no storm, no enemy in sight? What mysteries do they hold, waiting for someone to ask the right question, to look in the right place? The Atlantic is full of such enigmas. The SS Edmund Fitzgerald, though lost in Lake Superior, is often spoken of in the same breath as the great Atlantic wrecks, a symbol of the unpredictability of water, the suddenness of disaster. The ocean does not care for reputation or experience. It claims all who cross its path with equal indifference. For every ship that survives, there are dozens more that do not, their stories written in salt and silence. As we continue our journey, the water grows colder, the darkness deeper, the wrecks become older, their names harder to read, their stories harder to piece together. But even in ruin, they command respect. Each one is a testament to the power of the sea, and to the fragility of those who dare to cross it. The Titanic's shadow falls across them all, a reminder that even the greatest can be brought low by the ocean's might. In the next section, we'll explore the stories of ships lost to human error, vessels brought down not by nature or war, but by the choices and mistakes of those who sailed them. Some say their ghosts still linger, searching for peace that the sea will never grant. Are you ready to follow us further into the dark, to listen for the voices that still echo beneath the waves? The journey continues. The Atlantic's depths are not only shaped by nature's fury or the violence of war, but by the fallibility of human hands. For every storm or iceberg, there is a decision made in haste, a warning ignored, a calculation gone wrong. The ocean is unforgiving, and even the smallest error can have catastrophic consequences. As we drift through these haunted corridors, we are reminded that the line between safety and disaster is often razor thin. The Titanic's shadow is a lesson in hubris, but she is not alone. All around her, the wrecks of ships brought down by human error lie in silence, their stories a testament to the cost of pride, fatigue, and the simple mistakes that can change everything in an instant. Consider the story of the SS Eastland, a passenger ship that capsized while still tied to the dock in Chicago in 1915. Though not an Atlantic wreck, her fate echoes across the world's oceans, a reminder that disaster can strike even in calm waters. The Eastland was top-heavy, her design flawed, her stability compromised by modifications meant to improve safety. On a summer morning, as passengers crowded the decks, she rolled onto her side, trapping hundreds below. Over 800 lives were lost, many within sight of safety. The Eastland story is a warning. Sometimes the greatest danger comes not from the sea but from ourselves. The Atlantic has its own tales of human error. The SS Vestris, a British passenger liner, sank off the coast of Virginia in 1928 after a series of misjudgments. She was overloaded, her cargo poorly stowed, her lifeboats unready. When a storm struck, the Vestris listed and began to sink. The crew's response was slow and confused, and the order to abandon ship came too late. Many lifeboats could not be launched, and over 100 people died. The Vestris's wreck is a place of regret, a reminder that the ocean punishes carelessness as surely as it does arrogance. Some wrecks are the result of overconfidence, of believing that technology or experience can overcome any obstacle. The Andrea Doria's collision with the Stockholm was not just a matter of fog and fate, but of misread radar, misunderstood signals, and a failure to communicate. The Titanic herself was declared unsinkable, her lifeboats too few, her speed too great for the conditions. In both cases, it was not just the sea that claimed these ships, but the choices made by those in command. The ocean is a harsh teacher, and her lessons are written in steel and sorrow. But not all errors are dramatic. Sometimes it is the slow accumulation of small mistakes that leads to disaster. The SS El Faro, a modern cargo ship, was lost in Hurricane Joaquin in 2015. The captain chose to sail into the storm, trusting in the ship's strength and his own experience. But the hurricane was stronger, the ship older, and the sea less forgiving than anyone expected. The El Faro's wreck was found 3 miles down, her story pieced together from the black box recovered from the depths. The voices of her crew, recorded in their final hours, are a haunting reminder of the human cost of error. What of the ships whose stories remain untold, whose wrecks have never been found? What lessons do they hold, waiting in the dark for someone to listen, to learn, to remember? The Atlantic is full of such lessons. For every disaster there are changes made, rules rewritten, technologies improved. But the ocean is always one step ahead, always ready to remind us that we are guests in her realm, never masters. The Titanic's shadow is a warning, but it is also an invitation to learn, to remember, to respect the power of the sea. As we continue our journey, the water grows colder, the darkness deeper, the wrecks become older, their names harder to read, their stories harder to piece together. But even in ruin they command respect. Each one is a testament to the power of the sea, and to the fragility of those who dare to cross it. The Titanic's shadow falls across them all, a reminder that even the greatest can be brought low by the ocean's might. In the next section, we'll explore the stories of ships lost to mystery, vessels that vanished without a trace, leaving only questions behind. Some say their ghosts still linger, searching for peace that the sea will never grant. Are you ready to follow us further into the dark, to listen for the voices that still echo beneath the waves? The journey continues. The Atlantic is a realm of riddles, a place where certainty dissolves into speculation and every answer breeds new questions. Some ships go down in storms, some to war, some to the slow grinding errors of human hands. But there are others, vessels that simply vanish, leaving behind no wreckage, no survivors, not even a whisper on the wind. These are the mysteries that haunt the ocean's memory, the stories that refuse to rest. What happened to these ships? Did they fall victim to forces we cannot see? Or did they slip quietly into the folds of history, their secrets locked away forever? The Titanic's shadow is long, but the shadows of the vanished are deeper still, stretching into the unknown. Consider the case of the USS Cyclops, a massive Navy collier that disappeared in 1918 with 309 souls aboard. She was last seen sailing from Barbados to Baltimore, her holds heavy with manganese ore. No distress call was ever received, no wreckage ever found. The Cyclops simply vanished, swallowed by the Atlantic without a trace. Theories abound: structural failure, enemy action, mutiny, even the supernatural. Some link her disappearance to the Bermuda Triangle, that infamous patch of ocean where compasses spin and logic falters, but the truth remains elusive, a question mark drifting on the currents. The Cyclops' fate is a reminder that the ocean is vast, and that even the largest ships can disappear without a sound. The Cyclops is not alone. Her sister ships, the Proteus and the Nereus, also vanished in the Atlantic during World War II, both carrying heavy cargoes, both leaving no trace. The odds of 3 ships from the same class disappearing in the same ocean are astronomical, yet the Atlantic is a place where the improbable becomes possible. Some say the ships were cursed, others that they fell victim to the same structural flaws. But the ocean keeps her secrets, and the stories of the Proteus and Nereus remain unfinished, their endings lost in the deep. There are smaller mysteries. 2 ships that left port and were never seen again, their names fading from memory, their stories reduced to a line in a ledger. The SS Poet, a cargo ship, vanished in 1980 en route from Philadelphia to Egypt. No distress call, no debris, no explanation. The families of her crew still wait for answers, their grief compounded by the lack of closure. The Poet's disappearance is a modern mystery, a reminder that even in the age of satellites and sonar, the ocean can still hide what it wishes. Some ships are found, but their stories remain unresolved. The Carol A. Deering, a 5-masted schooner, was discovered aground off Cape Hatteras in 1921, her crew missing, her logbook gone. The galley was set for a meal, the lifeboats missing, the ship eerily intact. Was it mutiny, piracy, or something stranger? The Deering's fate has inspired endless speculation, her empty decks a canvas for every fear and fantasy the ocean can conjure. The wreck is long gone, but her legend endures, a ghost ship in every sense of the word. What of the ships that lie beyond the reach of our technology, buried beneath miles of silt and sand? What stories do they hold, waiting for someone to ask the right question, to look in the right place? The Atlantic is full of such enigmas. For every mystery solved, a dozen more remain. The ocean is patient, her memory long, her secrets well kept. The Titanic's shadow is a beacon, drawing us deeper into the unknown, urging us to keep searching, to keep asking, to never be satisfied with easy answers. As we continue our journey, the water grows colder, the darkness deeper, the wrecks become older, their names harder to read, their stories harder to piece together. But even in ruin they command respect. Each one is a testament to the power of the sea, and to the fragility of those who dare to cross it. The Titanic's shadow falls across them all, a reminder that even the greatest can be brought low by the ocean's might. In the next section, we'll explore the stories of ships that became legends. Vessels whose disappearances inspired tales of curses, monsters, and the supernatural. Some say their ghosts still linger, searching for peace that the sea will never grant. Are you ready to follow us further into the dark? To listen for the voices that still echo beneath the waves? The journey continues. The Atlantic is a stage for legends, a place where the boundaries between reality and myth dissolve in the swirling currents. Here, the stories of vanished ships grow into tales of curses, monsters, and the supernatural, narratives that echo through generations, whispered in the dark by those who fear the sea's power and mystery. The Titanic's shadow is cast not only by steel and sorrow, but by the imagination of all who have gazed into the ocean's depths and wondered what truly lies beneath. What is it about these waters that invites such stories? Is it the vastness, the darkness, the sense that anything is possible, or perhaps that nothing is impossible? Consider the legend of the Flying Dutchman, a ghost ship doomed to sail the seas forever, never making port, her crew cursed for eternity. Though her origins are rooted in the waters off the Cape of Good Hope, sightings of the Dutchman have been reported in the Atlantic for centuries. Sailors speak of a phantom vessel, glowing with an unearthly light, appearing out of the mist and vanishing just as quickly. Some say she is an omen of doom, a warning to those who would challenge the ocean's might. The Flying Dutchman is more than a story. She is a symbol of the fears that haunt every sailor, the sense that the sea is alive, watching, waiting. The Atlantic is home to other legends too. The Bermuda Triangle, a vast stretch of ocean bounded by Miami, Bermuda, and Puerto Rico, has become synonymous with mystery and disappearance. Ships and planes have vanished here without a trace, their fates unknown, their stories feeding the imagination of millions. The USS Cyclops, the Carol A. Deering, the Marine Sulphur Queen, all have been linked to the triangle, their disappearances attributed to everything from magnetic anomalies to alien abduction. Scientists offer rational explanations, rogue waves, methane eruptions, human error, but the legends persist, growing with each new vanishing. Some wrecks are said to be cursed, their very presence bringing misfortune to those who disturb them. The RMS Titanic herself is the subject of countless tales of premonitions, of omens ignored, of artifacts that bring bad luck to those who possess them. Divers and researchers have reported strange occurrences near the wreck, equipment failing without reason, sudden chills, the feeling of being watched. Is it the power of suggestion, the weight of tragedy, or something more? The ocean is a perfect canvas for fear, its darkness hiding not just wrecks, but the shadows of our own minds. There are stories of sea monsters, two creatures said to dwell in the Atlantic's depths, surfacing only to drag ships and sailors to their doom. The kraken, the giant squid, the mysterious sea serpents reported by early explorers, all have their place in the ocean's mythology. Some of these tales have a basis, in fact. Giant squids do exist, their tentacles leaving scars on the hulls of deep-diving submersibles. But most are stories, born of fear and the need to explain the unexplainable. The Atlantic is vast, and in its darkness anything seems possible. What of the legends that have yet to be proven or disproven? What truths might be hidden in the stories we dismiss as fantasy, waiting for the right moment, the right discovery, to bring them into the light? The ocean is a keeper of secrets, a place where the past and the present, the real and the imagined, coexist in uneasy harmony. The Titanic's shadow is a reminder that every legend has a kernel of truth, that every myth is rooted in the fears and hopes of those who sail these waters. For every mystery solved, a dozen more remain, waiting in the dark for someone to listen, to believe, to search. As we continue our journey, the water grows colder, the darkness deeper, the wrecks become older, their names harder to read, their stories harder to piece together. But even in ruin they command respect. Each one is a testament to the power of the sea, and to the fragility of those who dare to cross it. The Titanic's shadow falls across them all, a reminder that even the greatest can be brought low by the ocean's might. In the next section, we'll explore the stories of those who have tried to uncover the Atlantic's secrets. Divers, explorers, and scientists who risk everything to bring the past into the present. Some say their efforts are cursed, that the ocean resists every attempt to reveal her mysteries. Are you ready to follow us further into the dark? To listen for the voices that still echo beneath the waves? The journey continues. The Atlantic's secrets do not yield easily. For every shipwreck discovered, for every artifact brought to the surface, there are 1,000 more mysteries that remain untouched, hidden beneath layers of silt and centuries of silence. Yet the call of the deep is irresistible. Divers, explorers, and scientists have risked everything to pierce the darkness, to bring the stories of the lost back into the light. Their journeys are filled with danger, wonder, and sometimes a sense of something watching from the shadows. What drives these men and women to descend into the unknown? Is it curiosity, ambition, or a need to connect with the past in ways words alone cannot satisfy? Imagine the descent. The world above fades away, replaced by the cold embrace of the deep. Light vanishes, colors drain, and the only sound is your own breath echoing in your helmet. Every meter brings you closer to history, to the moment when a ship's journey ended and her story began anew. The Titanic's wreck 2.5 miles down is a pilgrimage site for those who seek to understand her tragedy. The first explorers who found her in 1985 described a sense of awe and sorrow, as if the ship herself was waiting for someone to remember, to bear witness. But the Titanic is not the only wreck to draw explorers into the abyss. The Lusitania, the Andrea Doria, the Empress of Ireland, all have been visited by those willing to brave the dangers of the deep. The risks are immense. Crushing pressure, freezing temperatures, the ever-present threat of entanglement or equipment failure. Some divers speak of the rapture of the deep, a sense of euphoria that can quickly turn to confusion and panic. Others describe moments of clarity, of connection, as if the past is reaching out through the darkness, urging them to listen, to remember. For some, the quest is scientific. Marine archaeologists use sonar, remotely operated vehicles, and advanced imaging technology to map wrecks, to study their decay, to piece together the stories of their final moments. Every artifact recovered, a shoe, a plate, a child's toy, is a link to a life interrupted, a reminder that history is made of individual stories, not just dates and numbers. The ocean preserves and destroys in equal measure. Some wrecks are perfectly preserved, their cabins still holding the echoes of laughter and fear, while others are little more than twisted metal and scattered bones. Yet, for all the advances in technology, the ocean remains a formidable adversary. The deeper the wreck, the greater the risk. The Titanic herself is slowly dissolving, her iron hull consumed by bacteria, her decks collapsing into the silt. Each visit is a race against time, a struggle to capture what remains before it is lost forever. Some say the ocean resents these intrusions, that every artifact removed is a theft, every photograph a trespass. There are stories of divers who returned changed, haunted by what they saw, unable to shake the feeling that they had disturbed something sacred. What of the wrecks that have never been found? The ships whose stories remain untold? What secrets do they hold waiting for the right explorer? The right question, the right moment to bring them into the light. The Atlantic is patient. She waits, her secrets safe beneath the waves, her stories half told, her mysteries unresolved. For every diver who returns, there are those who do not, lost to equipment failure, to sudden illness, to the unpredictable moods of the sea. The ocean is a harsh teacher, and her lessons are written in salt and sorrow. As we continue our journey, the water grows colder, the darkness deeper, the wrecks become older, their names harder to read, their stories harder to piece together. But even in ruin they command respect. Each one is a testament to the power of the sea, and to the fragility of those who dare to cross it. The Titanic's shadow falls across them all, a reminder that even the greatest can be brought low by the ocean's might. In the next section, we'll explore the stories of the people left behind, the families, the friends, the communities forever changed by the loss of a ship. Some say their grief lingers echoing across the years, searching for peace that the sea will never grant. Are you ready to follow us further into the dark, to listen for the voices that still echo beneath the waves? The journey continues. Loss at sea is never just a moment. It is a ripple that spreads outward, touching lives far beyond the water's edge. For every ship claimed by the Atlantic, there are families left waiting, communities left hollow, and generations marked by absence. The Titanic's sinking sent shockwaves around the world, but so did the loss of every forgotten freighter, every vanished trawler, every nameless wreck. The ocean's silence is not just the hush of the deep, but the quiet in a home where a voice will never return. The empty chair at a table, the unanswered letter. What does it mean to lose someone to the sea? Is it the not knowing, the lack of a grave, the endless hope that maybe somehow they survived? Or is it the certainty, the cold finality, that the Atlantic does not give back what it takes? Imagine the telegrams, the headlines, the crowds gathered at docks and train stations, waiting for news that never comes. In 1912, the world mourned the Titanic, but in small towns and villages the grief was personal, immediate and raw. Families clung to hope, scanning lists of survivors, praying for a miracle. For many, the only answer was silence. The same story played out for the Lusitania, the Empress of Ireland, the countless ships lost in war and storm. Each name on a casualty list was a life, a story, a future unfulfilled. Some families found ways to remember. Memorials rose in churchyards and city squares, plaques inscribed with names that would never be spoken again at family gatherings. Songs were written, stories told, traditions born out of loss. In some places, the sea itself became a grave, a place to cast flowers, to whisper farewells, to hope that the departed might hear. The Atlantic is a cemetery without headstones, a place where memory and longing are all that remain. For some, the lack of closure is the hardest part. The families of the vanished, those lost on the Cyclops, the poet, the marine sulfur queen, live with questions that may never be answered. Was it quick or did they suffer? Did they think of home, of loved ones in their final moments? The ocean keeps her secrets, and the living are left to imagine, to fill the silence with stories, with hope, with regret. Communities, too, are shaped by loss. Fishing villages along the Atlantic coast know the cost of the sea better than most. Every storm brings the risk of another name added to the roll of the lost. Yet life goes on. Boats are repaired, nets are mended, and the next generation learns to respect the ocean's power. The sea gives and the sea takes, and those who live by her rhythms know that every voyage is a gamble. What of the survivors? Those who returned from disaster changed forever. What stories do they carry? What burdens do they bear, and how do they find meaning in the shadow of loss? The Titanic's shadow is not just a mark on the ocean floor. It is a presence in the lives of all who have lost someone to the sea. It is the ache of absence, the persistence of memory, the hope that somehow the story is not truly over. For every shipwreck, there are those who remember, who mourn, who search for answers in the sound of the waves. As we continue our journey, the water grows colder, the darkness deeper, the wrecks become older, Their names harder to read, their stories harder to piece together, but even in ruin they command respect. Each one is a testament to the power of the sea, and to the fragility of those who dare to cross it. The Titanic's shadow falls across them all, a reminder that even the greatest can be brought low by the ocean's might. In the next section, we'll explore the stories of the survivors, those who escaped the Atlantic's grasp, but were forever changed by what they experienced. Some say their memories are haunted, that the ocean never truly lets go. Are you ready to follow us further into the dark, to listen for the voices that still echo beneath the waves? The journey continues. Survival at sea is never simple. For those who escape the Atlantic's grasp, the journey does not end with rescue. The memories linger, sharp as salt in a wound, echoing in dreams and in the quiet moments between heartbeats. The Titanic's survivors spoke of the cold, the darkness, the cries that faded one by one into silence. They spoke of lifeboats adrift under a sky full of indifferent stars, of the shock of rescue and the strange, guilty relief of being among the living. But they also spoke of the weight they carried, the knowledge that so many others did not return, the questions that would never be answered, the faces that would haunt them for the rest of their days. What does it mean to survive when so many are lost? Is it a blessing or a burden? Imagine the first moments after disaster, the confusion, the disbelief, the desperate scramble for safety. For the survivors of the Lusitania, the Empress of Ireland, the Andrea Doria, and so many others, the ordeal did not end when they reached the shore. There were inquiries, headlines, and the relentless curiosity of strangers. Some survivors became symbols, their stories retold in newspapers and books. Others withdrew, unable to speak of what they had seen. The ocean's shadow followed them, a constant reminder of the night when everything changed. Survivors often speak of the moments that replay in their minds, the decision to jump, the hand that slipped from their grasp, the final glimpse of a ship slipping beneath the waves. Some are haunted by guilt, by the sense that they could have done more, that fate was arbitrary and cruel. Others find meaning in their survival, dedicating their lives to remembrance, to safety, to ensuring that such tragedies are not repeated. The ocean's lessons are harsh, but they are not always without hope. For some, survival brings a new sense of purpose. The Titanic survivors formed associations, held annual dinners, and shared their stories with new generations. They became living links to the past, reminders that history is not just dates and numbers but lives lived and lost. The same is true for the survivors of other wrecks, each one a witness, a keeper of memory, a voice for those who cannot speak. Their stories are a testament to resilience, to the will to endure, to the power of hope in the face of overwhelming loss. Yet for many, the ocean's shadow never lifts. Nightmares persist, anniversaries bring fresh pain, and the sound of water can trigger memories too vivid to bear. Some survivors find solace in community, in the company of others who understand. Others turn to art, to writing, to the rituals of remembrance. The Atlantic is a place of endings, but also of new beginnings, a reminder that even in the darkest night, there is the possibility of dawn. What of the rescuers, those who risked their lives to save others from the sea? What stories do they carry? What burdens do they bear, and how are they remembered in the long shadow of disaster? The Titanic's shadow is not just a mark on the ocean floor. It is a presence in the lives of all who have faced the Atlantic's fury and survived. It is the ache of absence, the persistence of memory, the hope that somehow the story is not truly over. For every shipwreck, there are those who remember, who mourn, who search for answers in the sound of the waves. As we continue our journey, the water grows colder, the darkness deeper, the wrecks become older, their names harder to read, their stories harder to piece together. But even in ruin, they command respect. Each one is a testament to the power of the sea, and to the fragility of those who dare to cross it. The Titanic's shadow falls across them all, a reminder that even the greatest can be brought low by the ocean's might. In the next section, we'll explore the stories of the rescuers, those who braved the Atlantic's dangers to save others, often at great risk to themselves. Some say their courage is a light in the darkness, a reminder that even in the face of disaster, humanity endures. Are you ready to follow us further into the dark, to listen for the voices that still echo beneath the waves? The journey continues. The Atlantic's darkness is not absolute. In the midst of disaster, there are flashes of courage, moments when ordinary people become heroes, risking everything to save others from the sea's relentless grasp. The stories of the rescuers are woven into the fabric of every shipwreck, their bravery a counterpoint to the ocean's indifference. The Titanic's shadow is long, but within it, there are sparks of light, the lifeboat crews who rowed back into the debris field, the wireless operators who stayed at their posts, the captains who turned their ships toward danger instead of away. What drives someone to face the Atlantic's fury for the sake of strangers? Is it duty, compassion, or something deeper? A belief that even in the darkest night we are responsible for one another? Imagine the Carpathia, steaming through the night, her crew bracing against the cold, her captain pushing the engines to their limits. When the Titanic's distress call was received, Captain Arthur Rostron did not hesitate. He ordered all hands on deck, prepared hot drinks and blankets, and navigated through ice fields at full speed. The Carpathia arrived just before dawn, her lights a beacon of hope in the darkness. Survivors spoke of the relief, the gratitude, the overwhelming emotion of rescue. For the crew of the Carpathia, the memory of that night would never fade. They had answered the call and in doing so became part of history. The Carpathia's story is echoed in countless other rescues. The Andrea Doria's collision with the Stockholm in 1956 triggered one of the largest peacetime sea rescues in history. Lifeboats from both ships, as well as nearby vessels, braved the fog and the risk of further collision to save more than 2,600 people. The Empress of Ireland's disaster saw local fishermen and passing ships pulling survivors from the frigid waters of the St. Lawrence. In each case, the rescuers acted without hesitation, driven by instinct, training, and the unspoken code of the sea. Help those in peril, no matter the cost. But rescue is not always possible. The ocean's moods are unpredictable, and sometimes even the bravest efforts are not enough. The Lusitania sank so quickly that nearby ships could do little but recover bodies. The Marine Electric survivors clung to life rafts for hours before help arrived, their ordeal a testament to both the power of the sea and the resilience of the human spirit. For the rescuers, the memory of those they could not save is a heavy burden, a reminder that heroism is often measured not in success, but in the willingness to try. Some rescuers are remembered, their names inscribed on plaques and memorials. Others are forgotten, their deeds lost in the swirl of history. Yet their actions endure, shaping the way we respond to disaster, inspiring new generations to train, to prepare, to be ready when the call comes. The Titanic's shadow is not just a mark of loss, but a challenge to be better, to do more, to honor the memory of the lost by saving those who can still be saved. What of the wrecks that lie beyond the reach of rescue? The ships lost in remote corners of the Atlantic, where help could never arrive in time. What stories do they hold? And how do we remember those who face the end alone? The Atlantic is a place of endings, but also of beginnings. For every life lost, there is a story of survival, of courage, of hope. The rescuers are the guardians of that hope, the proof that even in the darkest night humanity endures. As we continue our journey, the water grows colder, the darkness deeper, the wrecks become older, their names harder to read, their stories harder to piece together. But even in ruin, they command respect. Each one is a testament to the power of the sea, and to the fragility of those who dare to cross it. The Titanic's shadow falls across them all, a reminder that even the greatest can be brought low by the ocean's might. In the next section, we'll explore the stories of the lost, those whose ships went down far from help, whose final moments are known only to the sea. Some say their spirits linger, searching for peace that the ocean will never grant. Are you ready to follow us further into the dark, to listen for the voices that still echo beneath the waves? The journey continues. There are places in the Atlantic where no rescue ever came, where the only witnesses to disaster were the stars above and the endless, indifferent sea. These are the loneliest wrecks, the ships that vanished far from shipping lanes beyond the reach of help, their final moments swallowed by darkness and distance. The Titanic's shadow is heavy here, but it is joined by countless others, vessels whose names are barely remembered, whose stories are written only in the silence of the deep. What does it mean to be lost so completely? To leave behind no trace, no survivor, no explanation? Is it the ultimate fear or the ultimate mystery? Consider the SS Waratah, the Australian Titanic, which disappeared in 1909 between Durban and Cape Town. She was a new ship, strong and modern, carrying over 200 souls. One day she was seen steaming along the coast. The next she was gone. No wreckage was ever found, no distress call ever sent. The Waratah became a legend, her fate debated for decades. Some say she was cursed, others that she was claimed by a rogue wave or a sudden storm. The truth remains hidden, her story a question mark drifting on the currents. For the families left behind, the lack of answers was a wound that never healed. The Atlantic is full of such stories. The SS City of Boston, a paddle steamer, vanished in 1870 with all hands. The SS President, the largest ship of her day, disappeared in 1841, her fate unknown. The SS Tempest, the SS Atlanta, the SS Naronic, all lost without a trace, their names now little more than footnotes in maritime history. Each disappearance is a reminder of the ocean's vastness, its ability to erase even the grandest ambitions, to turn certainty into myth for those left behind. The pain of not knowing is a special kind of torment. Without wreckage, without graves, there is no closure, only the endless cycle of hope and despair. Some families waited for years, scanning the horizon, listening for news, refusing to believe that their loved ones were truly gone. Others accepted the loss, but the questions lingered. What happened in those final moments? Did the crew and passengers know their fate? Or did the end come suddenly without warning? The ocean keeps her secrets, and the living are left to imagine, to fill the silence with stories, with hope, with regret. Some believe that the spirits of the lost linger near their ships, unable to move on until their stories are told. Divers and sailors speak of strange sensations near certain wrecks, a sudden chill, a sense of being watched, the feeling that the past is closer than we think. Is it just the mind playing tricks, or is there something more? The Atlantic is a place of mystery, a realm where the boundaries between the living and the dead are thin, where every shadow could be a memory, every echo a plea for remembrance. What of the ships that have been found after decades or centuries, their stories finally brought into the light? What can we learn from these rediscoveries, and how do they change the way we see the past? The Titanic's shadow is not alone in the deep. It is joined by the ghosts of the Waratah, the city of Boston, the President, and so many others. Each wreck is a question, a challenge, a reminder that the ocean's mysteries are far from solved. As we continue our journey, the water grows colder, the darkness deeper, the wrecks become older, their names harder to read, their stories harder to piece together. But even in ruin, they command respect. Each one is a testament to the power of the sea, and to the fragility of those who dare to cross it. The Titanic's shadow falls across them all, a reminder that even the greatest can be brought low by the ocean's might. In the next section, we'll explore the rediscovery of lost wrecks, moments when the past is brought back into the present, when mysteries are solved and new questions arise. Some say these discoveries bring peace, others that they disturb the rest of the dead. Are you ready to follow us further into the dark, to listen for the voices that still echo beneath the waves? The journey continues. Sometimes the Atlantic gives up her secrets. Decades, even centuries after a ship vanishes, a wreck is found, rusted and broken, but still holding the echoes of its final moments. These rediscoveries are moments of revelation and reckoning, when the past rises from the deep and the stories of the lost are told anew. The Titanic's shadow is joined by the sudden light of discovery, the thrill of answers long denied. But with every question resolved, new mysteries emerge. What does it mean to find a shipwreck after so long? Does it bring peace to the living, or does it disturb the rest of the dead? Is the ocean's silence ever truly broken? Consider the discovery of the Titanic herself in 1985. For over 70 years she lay undisturbed, her location a matter of speculation and myth. When Dr. Robert Ballard and his team finally found her 2.5 miles down, the world was transfixed. Images of her bow still proud in the silt, her railings draped in rusticles, her grand staircase collapsed into darkness. These became icons of both tragedy and wonder. For the families of the lost, there was a strange comfort in knowing where she lay, in seeing the place where so many stories ended. But there was also sorrow, a reopening of wounds, a reminder that the past is never truly gone. The Titanic is not the only ship to be found after years in the dark. The Lusitania was discovered off the coast of Ireland, her hull twisted by the torpedo that doomed her. The Empress of Ireland was located in the St. Lawrence River, her deck still holding the memories of that foggy night. The Andrea Doria, the Britannic, the Bismarck all have been found, their stories pieced together by divers and scientists, their secrets revealed to the world. Each discovery is a moment of connection, a bridge between the living and the dead, the present and the past. But not every rediscovery brings closure. Some wrecks raise more questions than they answer. The Mary Celeste was found adrift, her crew missing, her fate a mystery. The Carol A. Deering was discovered aground, her decks empty, her story unfinished. Even when a wreck is found, the ocean keeps some secrets for herself. The cause of disaster may remain unknown, the final moments lost to time and tide. For the families of the lost, there is comfort in knowing, but also a new kind of grief, a confrontation with the reality of loss, the undeniable evidence of what was taken. The rediscovery of wrecks is also a technological triumph. Sonar, submersibles, and underwater drones have opened new frontiers, allowing us to see what was once invisible. Each expedition is a blend of science and emotion, of data and reverence. The ocean is mapped, measured, and explored, but she is never conquered. For every wreck found, there are 100 more waiting, their stories still hidden in the dark. What of the artifacts brought up from the deep? Do they belong in museums, or should they remain with the dead? What responsibilities do we bear when we disturb the ocean's graveyards? And how do we honor the memory of those who rest there? The Titanic's shadow is illuminated by discovery, but it is also lengthened by the questions that remain. Each wreck found is a reminder that the ocean's mysteries are never fully solved, that every answer is the beginning of a new search. As we continue our journey, the water grows colder, the darkness deeper, the wrecks become older, their names harder to read, their stories harder to piece together. But even in ruin, they command respect. Each one is a testament to the power of the sea, and to the fragility of those who dare to cross it. The Titanic's shadow falls across them all, a reminder that even the greatest can be brought low by the ocean's might. In the next section, we'll explore the debate over shipwreck preservation, how we balance the desire to learn from the past with the need to respect the dead. Some say the ocean's graveyards should remain untouched, others that they are treasures to be studied and shared. Are you ready to follow us further into the dark, to listen for the voices that still echo beneath the waves? The journey continues. The rediscovery of shipwrecks brings with it a new set of questions, ones that reach beyond technology and touch the heart of what it means to remember, to honor, to disturb the past. The Titanic's shadow is not just a mark on the ocean floor. It is a living debate, a conversation between generations about how we treat the places where tragedy and history meet. Should these wrecks be left in peace, their secrets undisturbed, or should we explore, recover, and display what we find? Is the ocean a museum, a graveyard, or something in between? The answers are as complex and shifting as the currents themselves. For some, shipwrecks are sacred ground. The Titanic, the Lusitania, the Empress of Ireland. These are not just sites of disaster, but resting places for thousands. To disturb them is to risk disrespect, to turn tragedy into spectacle. Families of the lost often ask that these sites remain untouched, that the ocean's silence be honored. Divers speak of a sense of reverence, of the need to move quietly, to take nothing but photographs, to leave nothing but bubbles. The ocean, they say, is a place of memory, and every wreck is a chapter in a story that belongs to the dead as much as to the living. Yet, there are those who argue that shipwrecks are also sources of knowledge. Every artifact recovered, a shoe, a watch, a letter, tells a story, adds a detail, brings the past into sharper focus. Museums display these objects with care, using them to teach, to inspire, to remind us of the cost of hubris and the power of nature. For scientists and historians, the ocean is a vast archive, and every wreck is a page waiting to be read. The challenge is to balance curiosity with respect, to learn without exploiting, to remember without desecrating. The debate is not new. When the Titanic was first discovered, there was excitement and controversy in equal measure. Some wanted to raise her, to bring her back to the surface as a monument to human achievement and failure. Others insisted she should remain where she lay, a memorial to those who died. Over the years, thousands of artifacts have been recovered. China, jewelry, even pieces of the ship herself. Each item is a link to a life, a moment, a story. But each recovery is also a disturbance, a reminder that the past is never truly at rest. Laws and guidelines now govern many wrecks, especially those considered war graves or sites of mass loss. The UNESCO Convention on the Protection of the Underwater Cultural Heritage seeks to preserve these places, to ensure that exploration is done with care and respect. But the ocean is vast and enforcement is difficult. Salvagers, treasure hunters, and even well-meaning explorers sometimes cross the line, taking what should be left behind, turning memory into commodity. What of the future? How will new technologies, new discoveries, and new generations shape the way we remember and protect the Atlantic's haunted wrecks? Will we find a balance between curiosity and reverence? Or will the debate continue as long as the ocean keeps her secrets? The Titanic's shadow is a reminder that the past is never truly gone, that every decision we make about these wrecks is a reflection of who we are and what we value. The ocean's graveyards are places of sorrow and wonder, of loss and learning, of memory and hope. As we continue our journey, the water grows colder, the darkness deeper. The wrecks become older, their names harder to read, their stories harder to piece together. But even in ruin, they command respect. Each one is a testament to the power of the sea and to the fragility of those who dare to cross it. The Titanic's shadow falls across them all, a reminder that even the greatest can be brought low by the ocean's might. In the next section, we'll explore the role of memory and storytelling, how the tales of the Atlantic's haunted and forgotten wrecks are passed down, transformed and kept alive. Some say the stories themselves are a kind of rescue, a way of bringing the lost back into the light. Are you ready to follow us further into the dark? To listen for the voices that still echo beneath the waves? The journey continues. Stories are the lifeboats of memory. Long after the ships themselves have vanished, after the last survivor has spoken, it is the telling and retelling of what happened that keeps the past alive. The Atlantic's haunted and forgotten wrecks are not just steel and wood, but words, echoes that travel from generation to generation, changing shape but never losing their power. The Titanic's shadow is cast not only by her rusting hull, but by the millions of voices that have whispered her name, written her story, sung her tragedy. Why do we return to these tales again and again? Is it to warn, to mourn, to marvel, or simply to remember that we too are part of the ocean's long, unfinished story? In every port town along the Atlantic there are stories. Grandparents tell of storms survived and ships lost, of friends who never came home, of lights seen on the horizon that vanished before dawn. In museums, guides recount the final hours of the Lusitania, the Empress of Ireland, the Andrea Doria. In books and films, the Titanic's last night is replayed in endless variations, each version a little different, each one a reflection of the hopes and fears of its time. The ocean stories are never static. They grow, they shift, they become legend. Some stories are warnings, reminders of the ocean's power and the price of arrogance. The tale of the Titanic is a lesson in hubris, in the dangers of believing that nature can be tamed. The story of the Marine Electric is a call for better safety, for vigilance and respect. Other stories are mysteries, puzzles that invite us to search, to question, to wonder. The disappearances in the Bermuda Triangle, the fate of the Waratah, the ghostly sightings of the Flying Dutchman. These are tales that refuse to be solved, that keep us looking to the horizon. But stories are also a kind of rescue, for the families of the lost, for the survivors, for the communities shaped by disaster. Telling the story is a way to bring the past into the present, to give meaning to loss, to ensure that those who vanished are not forgotten. Every anniversary, every memorial, every whispered name is an act of remembrance, a refusal to let the ocean have the last word. The Titanic's shadow is softened by the light of memory, by the voices that refuse to be silenced. In the digital age, the stories of the Atlantic's wrecks have found new life. Online archives, virtual museums, and social media connect people across continents, allowing descendants to share memories, researchers to collaborate, and the curious to explore from afar. The ocean's graveyards are no longer hidden. They are mapped, photographed, and discussed in forums and classrooms. Yet for all the technology, the heart of the story remains the same. A ship, a journey, a sudden end, and the questions that follow. What of the stories yet to be told? The wrecks still undiscovered, the voices still unheard, the lessons still waiting in the dark? How will future generations remember the Atlantic's haunted and forgotten ships? And what new tales will they add to the ocean's endless song? The Titanic's shadow is a story in itself, one that grows with every telling, that changes with every new discovery, that endures as long as there are those willing to listen. The Atlantic's haunted wrecks are not just relics of the past. They are living stories carried on the waves, waiting for someone to hear. As we continue our journey, the water grows colder, the darkness deeper. The wrecks become older, their names harder to read, their stories harder to piece together. But even in ruin, they command respect. Each one is a testament to the power of the sea and to the fragility of those who dare to cross it. The Titanic's shadow falls across them all, a reminder that even the greatest can be brought low by the ocean's might. In the next section, we'll look to the future, at the new explorers, the new technologies, and the new mysteries that await in the Atlantic's depths. Some say the ocean's greatest secrets have yet to be found. Are you ready to follow us further into the dark, to listen for the voices that still echo beneath the waves? The journey continues. The Atlantic story is far from over, even as we look back, tracing the shadows of lost ships and the echoes of old tragedies. New explorers set out across the waves, drawn by the same curiosity, courage, and longing that have always driven humanity to the sea. The Titanic's shadow stretches into the future, touching the dreams of those who seek to uncover what still lies hidden beneath the surface. What will the next generation find in the Atlantic's depths? Will they solve old mysteries or stumble upon new ones? The ocean waits, patient and inscrutable, her secrets guarded by darkness and time. Today's explorers are armed with tools their predecessors could scarcely imagine. Remotely operated vehicles glide through the blackness, sending back images in real time. Autonomous underwater drones map the seabed with laser precision, revealing canyons, mountains, and wrecks that have never been seen by human eyes. Sonar scans penetrate the silt, uncovering shapes that hint at stories yet untold. Scientists use DNA analysis to identify remains, piecing together the identities of those lost to the sea. The Atlantic is no longer an impenetrable mystery, but a frontier, one that yields its secrets slowly, and only to those who persist. Yet for all our technology, the ocean remains a place of wonder and humility. Every discovery brings new questions. The Titanic herself is dissolving, her iron bones consumed by bacteria, her story slowly returning to the elements. How long will her shadow last? Will future generations remember her as we do? Or will she become just another name on a map, another legend half believed? The same fate awaits every wreck, every story, every memory entrusted to the deep. The new explorers are not just scientists and divers, but artists, filmmakers, and storytellers. They bring the ocean's mysteries to the world, using virtual reality, documentaries, and interactive exhibits to let anyone, anywhere, walk the decks of the Titanic, peer into the cabins of the Lusitania, or stand on the bridge of the Andrea Doria. The Atlantic's haunted wrecks are no longer hidden. They are part of our shared imagination, woven into the fabric of global culture. But the future also brings new challenges. Climate change alters the currents, raises the seas, and threatens the preservation of wrecks that have lain undisturbed for centuries. Salvage operations, both legal and illegal, risk disturbing graves and erasing history. The debate over preservation versus exploration grows more urgent, as does the need for international cooperation and respect. The ocean's graveyards are not just sites of loss but of learning, reminders of what we risk and what we stand to lose. If we forget the lessons of the past, what will the next great discovery be? Will it be a lost liner, a forgotten freighter, or something stranger? A ship that rewrites history? A wreck that answers questions we haven't yet thought to ask? The Atlantic story is still being written, and the next chapter is waiting in the dark. The Titanic's shadow is a guide and a warning, a call to remember and to explore, to honor the past while seeking the future. The Atlantic's haunted and forgotten wrecks are not just relics, they are invitations, challenges, and promises. The ocean's greatest secrets may still lie ahead, waiting for those brave enough to seek them. As we continue our journey, the water grows colder, the darkness deeper, the wrecks become older, their names harder to read, their stories harder to piece together. But even in ruin, they command respect. Each one is a testament to the power of the sea and to the fragility of those who dare to cross it. The Titanic's shadow falls across them all, a reminder that even the greatest can be brought low by the ocean's might. In the next section, we'll reflect on what we've learned, on the meaning of memory, the power of the ocean, and the enduring allure of the unknown. Some say the sea will never give up all her secrets. Are you ready to follow us further into the dark, to listen for the voices that still echo beneath the waves? The journey continues. The Atlantic is more than a body of water. It is a mirror, reflecting our deepest fears, our highest hopes, and our endless fascination with the unknown. As we look back on the haunted and forgotten wrecks that lie beneath its restless surface, we see not just the story of ships and storms, but the story of ourselves. The Titanic's shadow is a reminder of ambition and hubris, of dreams that soared and fell, of the thin line between triumph and tragedy. But it is also a reminder of resilience, of the human need to remember, to search, to make meaning from loss. What have we learned from these journeys into the deep? What do the voices of the past whisper to us if we are willing to listen? Memory is a fragile thing, easily lost, easily transformed. The stories of the Atlantic's wrecks have changed with each telling, shaped by the needs and fears of every generation. The Titanic was once a symbol of progress, then a warning, then a legend. The Lusitania became a rallying cry, the Empress of Ireland a local tragedy, the Andrea Doria a cautionary tale. Each wreck is a prism, bending the light of history in new directions, revealing new truths, new questions, new emotions. The ocean preserves and erases in equal measure, holding some stories close, letting others drift away. Yet for all that is lost, much endures. The names of the lost are carved in stone, their stories told in classrooms and living rooms, their faces remembered in faded photographs and family legends. The ocean's graveyards are not just places of sorrow, but of connection, between past and present, between the living and the dead, between those who set out and those who wait on shore. The Titanic's shadow is a bridge, linking us to a world that is gone but not forgotten. There is comfort in ritual, in the laying of wreaths, the lighting of candles, the telling of stories. Each act of remembrance is a defiance of oblivion, a refusal to let the sea have the last word. The Atlantic's haunted wrecks are not just reminders of what we have lost, but of what we still hold dear. Courage, love, hope, the stubborn belief that every life matters, every story deserves to be told. The ocean is vast, but memory is vaster still. As we near the end of our journey, the questions remain. What secrets still lie hidden in the dark? What lessons have we yet to learn? The Atlantic will keep some mysteries forever, but others will rise to the surface, called forth by curiosity, by grief, by the simple need to know. The Titanic's shadow will lengthen and fade, but it will never disappear. Not as long as there are those who care, who wonder, who remember. And so, as we prepare to leave these haunted waters, what will you carry with you? What story will you tell? What memory will you keep alive? What question will you ask the next time you stand at the edge of the sea? The journey is not over. It never truly ends. As we prepare for our final descent, the water grows colder, the darkness deeper, the wrecks become older, their names harder to read, their stories harder to piece together. But even in ruin, they command respect. Each one is a testament to the power of the sea, and to the fragility of those who dare to cross it. The Titanic's shadow falls across them all, a reminder that even the greatest can be brought low by the ocean's might. In the final section, we'll surface from the depths, carrying with us the stories, the mysteries, and the emotions of all we have seen. Some say the sea is eternal, that her memory is longer than ours. Are you ready to return to the light? To reflect on what it means to journey through the Atlantic's most haunted and forgotten wrecks? The conclusion awaits. We rise now from the depths, carrying with us the weight of 1,000 stories, the chill of the Atlantic still clinging to our bones. The surface is close, the light growing brighter, but the memories of the deep do not fade so easily. The Titanic's shadow lingers, stretching across the water, across time, across every heart that has ever wondered what lies beneath. We have traveled through darkness and silence, through tragedy and courage, through the haunted corridors of forgotten wrecks and the restless dreams of those who dared to cross the sea. What have we found here at the end of our journey? Perhaps not answers, but understanding. Not certainty, but connection. The Atlantic's most haunted and forgotten wrecks are not just relics. They are reminders of what it means to be human. Every shipwreck is a story unfinished. Every name on a memorial is a life interrupted. The ocean's graveyards are not just places of loss, but of hope. Hope that we will remember, that we will learn, that we will honor those who came before us. The Titanic's shadow is a warning and a promise that greatness is fragile, that memory is powerful, that the sea is both a destroyer and a keeper of dreams. We leave behind the rusted hulls and silent decks, but we carry forward the lessons they offer, the need for humility, for vigilance, for compassion, for wonder. As we surface, the world above feels changed. The sky is wider, the air sharper, the horizon more mysterious. The Atlantic stretches out endless and unknowable, her secrets safe for now. But we know, as all who have looked into her depths know, that the sea is never truly silent. Her stories rise with the tide, drift with the currents, echo in the hearts of those who listen. The haunted and forgotten wrecks are not lost. They are waiting always for someone to remember, to ask, to care. So what will you do with what you have learned? Will you share these stories, pass them on, keep the memory of the lost alive? Will you look at the ocean with new eyes, seeing not just water, but history, mystery, and the fragile thread that connects us all? The journey does not end here. Every voyage, every question, every act of remembrance is a new beginning. The Atlantic's haunted wrecks are invitations to explore, to wonder, to feel. As we close this chapter, let us remember, the sea is vast, but so is the human spirit. The Titanic's shadow will always be with us, a reminder of what we have lost and what we still have to discover. The Atlantic's most haunted and forgotten wrecks are not just stories of the past. They are calls to the future, to curiosity, to empathy, to awe. Thank you for joining this descent into the unknown, for listening to the voices that echo beneath the waves, for carrying these memories back to the surface. The ocean's secrets are endless, but so is our capacity to seek, to learn, to remember. Until the next journey, may you find wonder in the shadows and light in the depths.